Hello friends, we are going to be getting ready to go over our unit or our topic practice, our review for our test for topic 10. And so we're just going to go ahead and get started with it. Which line plot shows the data? So I'm going to go through first of all and find out what the lowest data point is. And right here it seems like it is 7 1/4. So I know that I need to make sure that it's 7 1/4. And that is, okay. So how many times does 7 1/4 appear? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I need to find, so I can cross this one off because it does not have 7 1/4 for 3. That one does not have 7 1/4 for 3, and that one does not have 7 1/4 3. So this one is our answer. You can also see that this is not, let's see here. If I missed that part, then I would look at 7 1/2, and I have 7 1/2 one time. So then I would have to find which one, all of these do not have 7 1/2 one time. So A is our answer. Number 2. The line plot shows the results from a survey asking parents how many children they have in school. How many parents have 2 children in school? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 parents have 2 children in school. Georgina made a line plot of the amount of time she spent practicing her violin each day. What is the difference between the greatest and least time spent practicing? So the greatest time that she spent was 1 1/2. The least amount of time she spent was 1/2. So the difference would be 1 1/2 minus 1/2, which would be 1 hour. What is the most common amount of time she spent practicing? This is 3. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 1, and 1. So she spent 3/4 of an hour the most. What is the total amount of time she practiced? Write and solve an equation to show your work. So my equation would be 1/2 times 2 plus 3/4 times 6, because it happened 6 times, 1, 2, 5, 6, plus 1 times 3, that happened 3 times, plus 1 1/4 times 1, plus 1 1/2 times 1. Okay, so we're going to solve this. 1 1/2. 1 1/2 times 2 would be 1, because it would be 2 over 2, which would be 1. So I'm going to put that answer right here. We have 1. Three quarters times 6 over 1 is 18 over 4. So we're going to put that over there, 18 over 4. I can't read that one, so we're just going to write it here, 18 over 4. Okay. 1 times 3 is 3, and then we have 1/4 and 1/2. All right, so we're going to be adding these together, which would be, I'm going to make this box over here, 1 plus 3 plus 18 over 4 plus 1 1/4 plus 1 1/2. I'm actually going to have to probably go to a separate sheet of paper to do this one. So I'm going to change these to improper fractions. So that'll be 5/4, so 18/4 plus 5/4. I'm going to change this to 1 2/4 because that's an equivalent fraction. So that would be 6/4. And then we have 4 plus. Let me do that first. 18 plus 5 is 23, plus 6 is 29. Okay, this would be, it goes in 4 into 29 would be 7 1/4, 7 1/4 plus 4 would be 11 and 1/4 hour. 11. Okay, so in between 1 and 2, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 little pieces. So each of these lines is going to be 1/8. So this is, I'm going to draw my lines a little bit better here because I kind of wrote over them. Okay, this is going to be 1 and 1/8, 1 and 2/8, 1 and 3/8, 1 and 4/8, 1 and 5/8, 1 and 6/8, 1 and 7/8, 1 and 8/8, 2 and 1/8, 2 and 2/8, 2 and 3/8, and 2 and 4/8. So the one that is the most is 1 and 6/8. Now, if you were anything like I was when I first looked at this, I said 5/8, 7/8, but my answer is 6/8. Something has to be wrong. But a lot of times they give you an equivalent fraction, which would be 1 and 3/4, as the answer to throw you off. So 1 and 6/8 is the correct answer, but 1 and 3/4 is 1 and 6/8 simplified. All right, our next question is, which of the total length of rope is represented in the data? So we're going to get a separate sheet of paper, and we are going to answer this question. So we're going to do 1 and 4/8 is times 3. And we're going to do, let's see here, 1 and 6/8 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 times 4. 2/8, 2 and 1/8 times 2. And then we have 2 and 3/8 times 1. Okay, so I went through all of the data here, and I just wrote how many dots appear above each. And now I'm going to solve. I have to turn these into improper fractions. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 4 is 12, and I'm going to multiply it by 3/1, which would be 36/8. I'm going to circle that because I'm going to need that later. 8 times 1 plus 6. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 6 is 14/8, times 5/1. 14 times 5 is 70. We're going to need that later. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 1 is 17, times 2/1. That's 34/8. And then, of course, 2 and 3/8 times 1. But I'm going to turn that into an improper fraction, which would be 16. That'd be 19/8. All right, so we're going to add all of these together. 36/8 plus 70/8 plus 34/8 plus 19/8, and then we'll add our 8 afterwards. Okay, so 36, 70, 34, and 19. Remember, we're going to keep 8 the same. That would be 9, 4, 11, 14, 15. So 159 over 8. Now I'm going to turn this to a mixed number. I'm going to actually bring this down here a little bit. So we got 99. That would be 72 with 7 eighths. So this would be 19 and 7/8 plus 8, which would be 27 7/8. And that answer is C, 27 7/8. Suppose two more pieces of rope are cut to be 2 feet. Would the value that occurred the most often change? So I'm going to put, all right, so we're going to go 1, 2 more. So that means, yes, it's going to change. The value that occurred the most would now be 2 because it happened 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And 1 3/4 happened 5 times. So that'd be your answer to number 6. All right, our next one, Terry works at a bakery. This morning he recorded how many ounces each loaf of bread weighed. Make a line plot for the data set. So 23.5, 24, 23 3/4 would be right here, because this is 23 2/4, 23.5, 24 1/4 be right here, 23.5, 24, 23 1/4, 24.5, 22 3/4, 24 1/4, 23.5. Morgan said that the difference between the heaviest loaf of bread, which is 24.5, and the lightest loaf of bread is 1.5 ounces. So the lightest loaf of bread is 22 3/4. Okay, so if I make this 23, I have to borrow 23. This would be 2/4. So it would be 23 6/4 minus 22 3/4, which would be 3/4, 1 3/4. So no. The difference is 1 3/4. What is the combined weight of all the loaves of bread? So our last question is going to be all right, so I'm actually getting a separate sheet of paper so I can solve our final problem, which is how much total is the combined weight of all the loaves of bread. So since I'm going to need a lot of space, I am folding it so you can see that and the work that I'm doing. Okay, so we are going to add 22 3/4 happens one time. So I really don't have to worry about multiplying that by 1. Plus 23 1/4 only happened one time. Plus 23.5 happened 4 times. Plus 23 3/4 only happened one time, so I don't need to multiply that by 1. Plus 24 happened twice. Plus 24 1/4 happened twice. Plus 24.5 happened once. Okay, so I'm going to try to figure out what these all are. I know this is 48. Okay, so we're going to do 23.5 times 4. So I'm going to change 23.5 into an improper fraction. So 46 plus 47, or plus 1 is 47, over 2 times 4 over 1. So 47 times 4 is 28, 16, 188. So 188 over 2. So this is 188 over 2. Which as a mixed number would be 94. So 94. The next one that I have to solve, last one I have to solve, is 24 and a quarter times 2. So I'm going to change 24 times 4, 16, and 96, plus 1 would be 97, over 4 times 2. So 97 times 2 would be 14, be 194, over 4. So I'm going to turn that to a mixed number, and that should be 4, 4 goes in at 8 times. So this over here is 48 and 2/4. All right, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to add everything together. 22 and 3/4. 23 and 1/4. 94. 23 and 3/4. 48. 48 and 2/4. 24 and a half. So if you were adding up all the fractions together and then the whole numbers, you can do that way, or you can do it this way. Okay. So I see that I cannot add 24 and a half to these because they do not have a common denominator. So I'm just going to make that 2/4. Okay. 2/4. All right. So I'm going to add these together. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 20, 28, and 32. 5, 7, 16, 18, 22, 26, 28. All right, now this is 12/4. Okay,